Winter is coming, everyone, especially for Canadians. It's kind of a difficult time for us because we have to deal with wet, snowy, icy, and slushy weather. It's especially fun if you're driving. But if you're not from Canada, you probably think that this is what it looks like 24/7, but that's actually not true. And I have someone here, Winston, who can vouch for that. Winston, you're not from around here, are you?
Not originally, no. I was originally from the UK, Cardiff City in Wales. So, we don't get that kind of weather all year round. We do get the full seasons, the summer, the winter, autumn, spring, that kind of stuff. But it never really that cold. Maybe up in Scotland, but where I am, it's not that cold, to be honest with you.
Now, you've been here for a year. How does it compare and contrast to where you came from?
Oh, it gets really cold in the winter here. You definitely get snow. But the snow, it's not as bad as I thought. But maybe in Toronto, kind of Ontario.
Yeah, it would be a little bit worse over there. But in BC, of course, we get snow almost as much as the other places. We just get it in different places. And where we are from, which is in the BC lower mainland, snow can cause a lot of havoc.
It can,
all right? Especially because it's mainly a temperature thing. When things get a little bit chilly, it starts to ice up a lot. And, but during our summer road trip, it was beautiful here, right?
It was, yeah. I was quite surprised that in Canada, you do get a lot of nice summer. I was quite surprised it was quite hot, actually. And hence you get the forest fires and stuff like that, right?
That's right.
And but driving in the summer in BC, very nice. I love it. It reminds me a bit of, like UK in the summer.
Yeah.
So, with that kind of difference, we see similarities there. But when it comes to winter, totally different. We don't need to, for example, have any special kind of tires or anything like that to require to drive on the road. We just use one set of tires, and that's it all year round. Mm-hmm. And that's something not quite the same here.
And you don't even have scrapers for your windshield, do you?
Occasionally we do.
Occasionally.
We spray some antifreeze, blah, blah, blah. That's
a little bit different than us. We have scrapers in our cars, of course, for the winter. But, during that time of year, during winter, which we're heading in pretty quickly, according to the National Accident Database, it's the time of year when 30% of all car accidents in Canada happen.
In the winter.
November to February, right?
Wow.
And that's crazy, right? That's our peak winter across Canada, right? But, luckily, Canadians are fairly well prepared. I think that for the most part, Canadians have the right gear. We have the scrapers.
Yeah.
We have the winter windshield washer fluid. We have blankets and other things that we need for the road, right? But we also have a technology that was invented not by Canadians, but by the Finnish. And over 70% of us in the country actually already use these in the winter season.
Interesting.
They first were on the road in 1934, invented by a company called Nokian.
Nokian.
Yeah.
Who are they? Sounds very familiar.
It does, because Nokia is famous for the 3310, which is the indestructible phone of the 2000s, right?
Right, yeah, Nokia phones, yeah.
And it was only up until like the 80s where Nokia actually owned this tire company called Nokian that is responsible for inventing the winter tire. This technology, the winter tire, in 1934.
Okay.
It was originally for trucks.
I understand why, because in Finland, up north, the Nordics, they get really cold. Very similar to kind of weather in Canada. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we get a lot of that weather. And that technology has evolved so much over the years, right? And, thanks to new materials, new technologies and everything, they perform better than ever.
Wow.
And EVs have sparked that innovation as well, too, due to some of their specialized needs, which actually benefit all drivers on the road. And that's why, in cooperation with Kal Tire, Canada's source for tires, they are a fantastic nationwide chain that is dedicated to making everyone safer on the road. Our podcast show this week will focus on the 4 tiny patches of rubber that keep us from sliding off the road. This is something that we use both year round and also especially rely on in the winter. So that's our topic for the day.
Yep.
It'll be winter tire technology.
I'll have some questions because I'm totally clueless when it comes to tires. Well, I thought, in UK, it's just you put a set of tires on and that's it. You drive all year round with it. When the thread or whatever gets, worn and it's baldish, we just change tires. That's it. But in Canada, you have a routine that you do kind of every winter.
Yeah.
And that's something I really wanted to know because, people who, when the winter gets colder, especially with climate change and everything, winter's getting colder and, snow definitely coming down and stuff like that. You need to be aware of safety issues and things like that. And this is something I find very interesting.
Correct. It's partially a personal responsibility thing because across Canada, with the exception of Quebec, it's not a law to have winter tires. We'll get into some of those details because there are actually some very interesting thoughts on that and also interesting statistics. But first, let's kind of define what we're talking about here. So you're from the UK.
Yeah.
You've had one winter in Canada.
I did.
You've driven a vehicle or two in Canada, in the UK.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about a winter tire? What defines a winter tire?
For me,
in your opinion, right or wrong? Just tell me from your perspective, as someone that has never really had that experience, what does it look like?
For what I can tell is I've never had to change a winter tire in Canada because I think my wife drives an all season tire. So for UK, for me, it was just summer tires. I think it was just tires. They didn't define them as all winter or all season, whatever. So for me, to find a winter tire, I'm guessing the thread is thicker.
Okay.
All right. And the tire material is harder, I guess.
Okay.
And maybe it has more grip, maybe.
Okay.
That's what I define as a winter tire.
Okay. You took a really good stab at it. You got one of the things right, which is basically deeper tread.
Okay.
We need that for digging into the ground. We need that for evacuating water and slush.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, slush. Yeah.
One of the things that you didn't get right.
What's that?
Is of course the compound.
Okay.
It's not hard.
It's not hard.
It's not harder. Let me tell you why. Okay. So winter tires. Winter tires. Properly designed winter tires actually have a rubber compound that's engineered specifically to stay pliable as the temperature goes down.
Right.
They actually stay soft. They're soft to begin with at higher temperatures, but as they reach the crossover point. Now, the crossover point is very important because you have experience in the UK. This is where the crossover point is. As an industry, everyone's rubber, and I think might have some scientific basis, is that rubber cannot stay pliable below 7 degrees plus 7 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
So what's the average weather temperature in the UK, right? Plus
and talking
10?
about winter, maybe 2 to 3 degrees
max.
And on a cold day, it does get to 0.
Okay.
Occasionally it goes to minus 5 or 10 max.
Okay.
In Scotland, it's more below 0. I think.
Okay.
You get a lot more of that, but we rarely get snow. Not much. We get snow and it turns into slush and stuff like that. But it's never constant. You might have a cold session, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, possibly 3-4 weeks, maybe a month max.
I'm going to get you to hold that thought because this is one area where a lot of Canadians even get it wrong. Because it's not about snow. It's not about that.
I always thought it was about snow.
It's not about snow.
Okay.
It's not about snow.
Correct me.
So I'm going to make sure that we're aware of why winter tires exist and what their modern composition used to be. Because, yes, in Finland, during the 1934s, rubber was really kind of... we didn't understand these things about rubber. We didn't even have studded tires or anything like that. Rubber was rubber, right? And the only way that the Finnish figured out how to deal with the winter was to make skinnier tires that dug into the ground to the hard ground below. Okay. The rubber was the same, right? So they were skinny. They had channels that cleared out things. They were just, the mobility was better. But modern vehicles travel way faster than old 1934 vehicles. So
and heavier,
modern winter tires have a tread pattern that doesn't look a lot different than your 3-season. We call them 3-season here because they're only really good for spring, summer, and fall.
Okay.
And I'll get into a little bit more on this. But when you look very, very closely, there's something called siping.
Siping.
Okay?
What the hell is that?
So let's just imagine a tread block.
Okay.
A square tread block
Right.
on your tire.
Okay.
Siping is like these slits.
I see slits. Yeah, I
on the
remember
inside.
seeing slits on them. Yeah,
When you push on them, they split apart.
split apart. I never knew that.
So they actually open. They actually increase the surface area.
Oh, so as you put pressure on there,
Yep.
it kind of like opens. Oh, so it becomes wider.
It's like a squeegee for the ground. Okay?
Right,
because
right,
if the ground is really, really cold, it's about the ice. But if you remove the moisture there, the chance of it actually freezing is actually reduced a little bit.
Okay.
As a result, there's tons of these all over a winter tire. In addition to a compound that is much more pliable and sticky in lower climates, below plus 7C. Okay? And as a result, these two things work together to actually bite into the ground so that you stop with less distance. In fact, up to some tests have shown 30 to 40% better performance in some independent tests. Okay,
right.
We want to avoid using overall numbers because those might be the best tires on the market. But those are some of the things that even the insurance industry has been kind of quoting based on some of my research.
Yeah. The thing about the UK is that when we get like snow, temperatures below zero, a lot of people in the UK just stay at home.
And that's the difference, right? In Canada, and as most of our friends that have come to Canada have noticed, is that we are a car driving culture.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We can't get to Whistler on a bus or a train or anything like that very easily. You can get there, but unless you are paying someone $10 for gas money or something like that, you're not getting to Whistler.
Yeah,
right. You have to get there in some way, and that's why we need equipment that works really well in this case. So the siping and the slits in the tread blocks, as we mentioned, do a number of things to help control the vehicle, both stopping and both going. Okay. And in some very high-end tires, there's some technology voodoo that actually helps the tire when it spins on off axis even stay control on the road. We'll get to that in a little bit. In Canada and internationally, the tire industry has recognized that, hey, you know what? There used to be this thing called M+S, mud and snow on the side of tires. You have that in the UK.
Oh, yeah. I think so,
for all season tires that you call there, 3 season tires here.
Okay.
The M+S was woefully inadequate because it never actually specified a different compound or different construction of the tire.
Okay.
So how is it supposed to do anything for the winter? It really doesn't. So the industry went back to the drawing board and they worked with the ASTM, which is the big international standards company. You'll see helmets tested by them and everything like that, right?
Okay.
And they could develop what's called the Three-Peak Mountain Snowflake, which is this Three-Peak Mountain Snowflake. It's a triangle on the side of tires.
Oh, okay.
That are actually winter rated.
Okay. So by identifying those tires, you'll notice those symbols. And
You'll notice that symbol.
Okay.
Specifically. So if you're driving on a tire in BC that has that, you're going to be guaranteed at least better performance in the winter and than any all-season tire out there. Okay, it's a given because that's how they were tested against all-season tires with M+S. Okay, so that's the standard. That's the standard bearer for winter tires in Canada and internationally. It's something that you should look for if you're looking for something that you want to be able to drive, especially in the winter. Now, again, we already told you about all the things.
Yep.
It's going to be, obviously better braking in winter conditions. It's going to be better cornering in winter conditions, even better on some tires out there because they have done additional R&D to make sure that when it turns, not just going forwards and backwards, which is what the Three-Peak Mountain Snowflakes test for, that it actually stays on axis. That actually allows you to get out of it. So when you spend more money for a winter tire, you just basically get more. Our friends at Kal Tire gave this analogy. Imagine if you were on an iPhone 7.
Okay.
Right? It places calls. It surfs the internet.
Yeah.
Right? It's not fancy.
Not fancy.
Right?
Does a job.
Back and forth. But when you get into iPhone 15 Pro Max, you can make Tim Cook look like he's on a cinematic journey on his evening recordings, right? So that's kind of what you get when you spend more money.
Right.
The compound and the siping is one thing. The Three-Peak Mountain Snowflake is the other thing. But getting higher end tires gives you confidence to take on more.
So let me ask you a question. So in the summer, you've driven in, what tires are they? Are they all season?
I have a 3-season tire.
3-season tire, okay, in summer. Now you've changed to winter tires.
I have winter tires on my vehicle now.
Tell me, as you, experienced driver, you can actually tell the difference.
You can tell the difference.
Okay, so is the ride harder, softer, more grippier? What's the driving experience like?
Usually with a winter tire, you're going to get something that is, they're usually a softer tire to begin with. But as the winter gets colder, and as there's snow on the ground, you really don't notice the difference except for the fact that you stop a lot faster.
Oh, so so when you hit the brakes, you feel the car is actually stopping faster.
The ABS ABS can only work with grip.
Okay.
If you have no grip, ABS doesn't work. Right. So you need some grip. So the siping, the rubber compound, the ability to create friction on bare, wet pavement or snow or ice is what ABS needs to actually trigger.
So you feel that when you're braking, you feel that it's actually braking a lot better.
It's more controlled.
More controlled.
And, like I was mentioning, up to 30 to 40% is what some industry professionals in the insurance industry have been saying, that winter tires have that faster response.
Because the reason why I asked that is because you're not going to get like 3 months of snow. No. You might get like a month of snow or whatever. And the rest of the other months are just like maybe wet or rainy.
Yeah.
You want to be driving as normal, So that's the experience I'm trying to ask, is whether you notice the difference. Does it make the car slower, faster? Is driving better, smoother, harder? But you've just explained that. So
that's where we talk about the EV portion of it. And we'll get to that as well too, because there are some things that you need to know about winter tires when you're selecting them specifically for an EV driver, like us. We both drive EVs now. Yeah. So if we are looking for winter tires, there are some things that you should know. But it comes down to this. Despite everything that we said about snow, and ice and everything like that. When the temperature drops, an all season tire, a summer tire, get harder.
Okay.
Right? A winter tire stays the same, more compliant all the way down to negative temperatures.
So it stays the same with as the temperature freezes. It doesn't harden or softer. It just stays the same.
Correct.
Okay.
So we've all played with Lego.
Yeah.
Those tires that are on Lego vehicles. That rubber is so hard.
That's just hard.
It slides everywhere, right? Now imagine if we were able to put a softer compound. Imagine how much better it would grip.
Oh, okay.
Right?
All right.
So what the simplest term, and I know that in the UK they don't play this as much as we do in Canada, but in Canada we have something called a hockey puck.
Oh, the hockey puck, of course, yeah. We
hockey pucks. If you in the summer, get kind of squishy and they don't work. You wouldn't want a hockey puck to play hockey outside on the pavement.
Not on the don't play hockey outside. In the summer, no, you don't do that. You play it on the ice rink.
Correct. So still, if it got cold enough, that hockey puck would still slide on pavement. Because the rubber hardens.
Right? Yeah.
Now imagine doing the same thing with an eraser. An eraser will stick to whatever. Right? It's pliable, it's sticky, and if you put some siping into it, it might actually stop.
Okay. I get you now.
Just like your car. So if you imagine your car has 4 hockey pucks on it versus 4 erasers in the winter, which one would stop faster?
Okay.
Right? Simple.
Yeah.
Right? You only have 4 patches of rubber contact on your vehicle. They have to be the right types in order for you to avoid an accident. And again, accidents.
True.
The definition of an accident in BC, according to ICBC, is contact with another vehicle.
You make contact.
If you don't make contact, there is no accident.
That's true. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So remembering that, accidents are usually avoided by inches. Right?
Yeah. It's a matter of inches, and it flashes so fast.
It goes really quickly.
Yeah.
So there are people out there on the internet that believe that their skills and their knowledge of tires supersedes your ability to stop. So those people there, I wish you well, but don't crash into me. I'm suing the snot out of you. Right? Because, and we'll get to that a little bit and why that's a financial burden that everyone needs to bear. So winter tires, good idea. Stops faster. Higher end tires stop a lot faster.
Yeah.
get you going a lot faster, and allow you to steer in challenging conditions, all right?
True.
Now, lives are very important, right?
Of course.
They're worth everything. Yeah. So, I mean, if you can get a winter tire onto your vehicle, that's important, but there's also some downsides I need to let the audience know about, okay?
Right.
First of all, you need to spend money on them.
Okay.
You need to buy them, right?
Yeah.
Now, off camera, you were asking me a question. Ask that question to me again.
Well, with all winter tires or 3-season tires and versus a winter tire, is there a price difference? I mean, is it an incentive for me to actually change to a winter tire because of price?
Yep.
Or is it because of, like I said, probably safety issues, insurance issues, blah, 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 and stuff like that? We'll talk about that in a sec.
Yeah.
Are they the same price or are they more expensive?
At the very top end, when you're looking at pricing, and again, this is like the more you spend, the more toys you get, the more features you get.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about the MacBook, in which case, you get fewer. But in the PC, the more you spend, the bigger the GPU you get, the bigger the
more
faster
performance
the
you
CPU, the more performance you get.
That's true.
It's very similar in winter tires. And again, it's just by season, right? Okay. So a summer high performance tire looks almost bald compared to a winter tire because they're in different conditions, different environments, right? But they're the cream of the crop in the environments that they live in.
Okay.
So a Nordic winter tire, which is something that we would use in Canada, looks pretty aggressive because it's got to stick into the snow. It's got to roll efficiently. It's got siping on the inside. And in some places in the country, we even have metal studs in them.
It's like I've seen some cars where they put chains on the wheels.
Chains are one way, one thing that
crazy.
you can do. And this is something to do with mountain passes where you absolutely have to have that. If you don't have winter
really
tires,
outdoors, right?
That's really it's actually a rule in BC. I'll get to that in a second, but in parts of the country, there are certain regulations, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we move along. But that's a very important point. I'm glad you brought that up. You were also saying that, hey, you live in an apartment condo in the area. And where are you going to put these things, right?
Right. So, like you told me that in the summer, you have your summer tires or your all season or 3-season tires. And in the winter, you change them to winter tires.
Yes.
So you have a set of 4 all season or 3-season tires. Where'd you put them? Because I've noticed in Canada and BC now as well, in Vancouver and stuff like that, a lot of people now living in flats or high rises, stuff like that. You don't have much storage space. Whereas in the UK, of course, houses in BC, you have a garage, we call them. And then we put them in the side. Like my brother, he's got a garage where, he doesn't park his car inside. It's all storage. So in the corner then, he's got these set of tires, which I'm guessing he wanted them sports racing tires and whatever. So the default kind of factory tires, he got them in the side, in the corner there. He might want to put them back in, whatever. But you guys do a regular thing in the winter where you have your summer all season tires in the storage somewhere, and then you put on your winter tires. So where'd you put these tires? Because you're not going to have a lot of space.
Well,
storage.
During the winter time, and this varies depending on the province. In British Columbia, you should be switching to winter tires between October 1st and April 30th.
Okay.
Certain highways require this, otherwise there will be a fine. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And storage is a big issue. I mean, not everyone has we would need this much space to store 4 winter tires, right? Per vehicle. If you have 2 vehicles, you need
8
storage for 8 tires. So one of the nice things is that a lot of dealerships, a lot of car places, a lot of repair shops, a lot of tire shops, they also offer tire storage.
Okay. So you actually rent a space where you put your tires in.
That's right. Unlike putting it in your carport or outdoors in the sun where they could get damaged or eaten by rats and other animals, your tires are put into climate-controlled facilities or in storage where you can pick them up next season again when it's time to change over.
They'll storage for you, and then it comes summer, you want to change them back.
Yep.
You go
make an appointment.
Make the appointment, you drive back to the same place, and they'll take your winter tires, put them into storage, and put your all-season tires back in.
That's right. So that's one of the things. I don't know if it's an innovation within British Columbia or within Canada, but wherever there is winter tire usage or requirements, there is also shops like Kal Tire. They actually have a service called the Tire Lodge. So when you come in to change off your tires, they'll actually store your other tires for a fee. And that, I think it varies depending on where you are in Canada. I don't have the pricing on me, but it's a nominal fee. It's better than having them in your house because they're dirty and grimy and everything. And they're going to wash them off, put them in storage for you, and ensure that they're going to be in good condition. They'll air them up. When you get them back on, they'll be at the right pressure because they're a tire shop. Okay. And that kind of eliminates the fact that if you don't have the space, no problem. Space costs money.
Yeah. I think in the UK, it's more of, I won't say it's a hassle. I think a lot of people think, oh, if I change my tires, it's going to cost me and it's just going to be a pain in the ass. And where do I put them? And they don't bother with that much changing tires for like different seasons.
I don't blame. Look, I don't blame people in the UK for not changing tires. I mean, you are, as far as your climate goes, it's pretty much spring in Vancouver all year round.
It's just rain.
It's just rain, right? It's either rain or it's bare or it's just dreary, right?
Yeah.
It's not that, again, I mentioned that it's a temperature related thing, right? You don't actually have temperatures that go negative. Ever.
Not that much.
Yeah.
Occasionally when you have a bad winter, but
right.
Yeah.
In Coquitlam, BC, in Richmond, BC, we're hitting negative 10s.
Oh, easy.
Right?
Yeah.
In the UK, you never see that.
Not unless it's a bad winter.
Right?
Yeah.
So, so the question remains is that, okay, can I not use winter tires?
I think it'd be better for you to use them in places like in Canada.
Or where appropriate, or where you feel the need, or there's an absolute risk.
I mean, if I was driving up in Nordics like Finland and Sweden, then I have to. I think
it's actually a law or a requirement. Yeah. And I know for a fact that in Quebec, here's a quick anecdote. It has nothing to do with BC. We're focusing on BC, but I thought this was so interesting.
Okay.
In Quebec, before they made it law, up to 90% of Quebecers actually use winter tires. They realized that they could save a life, save their own lives, and not cause accidents just by having the added traction and stability of a winter tire.
Okay.
Then when they made it law, this is what I found very interesting. That additional 10% of the people, and it's 100% now, it's law, they were still able to prevent 5% fewer accidents from the previous year.
So they made it into law?
Yeah. The next 2 years after, it was 5%, and it reduced fatalities by 3%.
So
that's your loved ones, your mom and dad, your brothers and sisters might in an accident that you could die in.
Yeah, a lot of people think accidents like driving, you're the cause of the accident. No, it's not. It's other people crashing into you, right?
It's part of a personal responsibility, the social contract that we have, to make sure that we do everything possible to avoid an accident. I know that we've seen all the TikTok videos and the meme videos where people are like, oh, that guy just pulled out in front of me. I'm just going to slam into him. No, you have a duty of care to actually avoid that. I mean, you have an entire week to decide whether or not to depress the brake pedal.
Yeah,
right?
Those crazy
makes no sense, right?
Road rage videos. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, so
don't.
Winter tires is part of that responsibility. Let me give you an idea here how it all works and how it impacts your pocketbook, right? Because people understand the monetary
because
penalty,
I wanted to ask, like it comes to insurance and stuff like that. Like you say, BC now, they're making it into law now for winter tires?
BC and again, I mentioned this date. Yeah. No, October 1st to April 30th.
Right.
On certain highways, on certain roadways within British Columbia, winter tires are required.
It's a must. Okay.
Now, let me define what a winter tire is under the eyes of the law, under the eyes of this particular this law. Okay. So they are saying that it's at least 3.5 millimeter tread.
So you have to have 3.5 millimeters.
You have to have that much.
Okay. Are winter tires more than 3.5?
They start out as more.
Okay.
But this is the bare minimum. So let me continue here. Remember when I was talking about M plus S?
Okay.
Well, the letters M and S are the minimum legal required, mud and snow. M plus S.
Okay.
On the all-season tire. So if you have these two things on your vehicle in BC,
you're not,
that's legally a winter tire.
Legally, okay.
All right.
So you're safe.
No, not exactly.
Okay.
In certain parts of British Columbia where they have certain signage, you also need the Three-Peak Mountain Snowflake.
As well on top. So you need a better quality.
Yeah.
Winter
Or
tire.
if you're a commercial vehicle, you need chains.
Okay. Oh,
Okay,
right,
chain
right,
up
right,
areas.
right,
If you
right,
avoid those, there's a monetary penalty. So let me tell you what it is.
Okay.
Okay. If you are traveling without winter tires, and again, this is the judgment based on the person that has inspected your vehicle, it's a $121 fine for not having winter tires.
Okay.
It's also discretionary because if your tires
And you
are
get points as well.
not 100% sure about that
Okay.
part. If you cause an accident, definitely.
Oh, right.
For commercial vehicles, $598 per
So
infraction.
like it doesn't have to be a big truck. It could be a small van,
It could be a work truck.
work truck.
Yeah. Commercial vehicle, right?
Right.
Anything that's used for commercial purposes. Obviously a semi-rig going up there without chains, that's suicide.
Still, you don't.
But
want to
there's still big trucks and big work vehicles that really do need this,
Right.
right?
Okay.
So
So as I said, when it comes to insurance, am I better off going with a winter tire? I mean, is that an incentive? If I go winter tires, is my insurance going to be cheaper?
Okay.
I think you mentioned something.
So you avoid the fines.
Okay.
That's monetary.
Okay.
So it is cheaper if you get caught. It's cheaper if you don't get into an accident. It's cheaper if you don't crash and have to pay a deductible.
Right.
But if you do have to pay that deductible, if you do get into accident, even though you meet the legal definition of a winter tire,
Right.
our insurance corporation, which is a crown corporation in British Columbia,
Okay.
which all of us pay into.
You have to.
I pay for your accidents just as much as you pay for mine.
So it's not like a separate insurance. It's a government kind of.
It's government owned,
Okay.
so everyone, it's no fault insurance here, right?
Yep.
So pros and cons, right? You can also get third party insurance, but this is not within the scope of what we're discussing.
Yeah.
So ICBC says, and these are the people that make your rates go up and down. Okay?
Okay.
Driving without winter tires will not void your insurance. If you have a claim, it also won't mean you are automatically at fault in the crash. However,
Okay.
if you get in a crash where winter tires could have helped,
Could have helped. Okay.
not having them may affect whether or how much you're at fault. So if you're in the middle of winter, Party A has winter tires, Party B has summer tires,
Yeah.
or free season tires without any with not enough tread, et cetera, and that vehicle crashed into your vehicle, escaping the accident,
Right.
well, chances are you'll be at fault. Or very mostly you will probably be at 50% at fault or higher.
Okay.
Right?
So in their eyes, it's better for you to have winter tires. In other words, it's better to be safe than sorry.
Better to be safe than sorry or out of pocket. And remember,
Yeah.
in British Columbia, we have a discount system based on X amount of years of exemplary driving.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Like no claims bonus and stuff.
No
like
claims
that. Yeah,
bonuses,
yeah.
right? Like I earned my bonus. I have the maximum possible discount. Okay. I think it's 40%.
That's good. That's
right?
good.
I've
Yeah.
earned that, right?
Yeah.
But if I wasn't wearing winter tires and I got myself into an accident where the person had winter tires on,
Yeah. You would lose all that.
I
and
might
then-
lose it.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
would be paying way more than a set
That's
of winter
true.
tires would cost.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a funny thing. In BC, in Canada, the highest insurance rates
Right.
are actually in the province that's right beside us,
That's Alberta.
Alberta.
Okay. Alberta.
So in this particular,
because they have colder winters, right?
they have colder winters,
Okay.
and it's not law.
It's not law to have winter tires.
No.
You're crazy.
They're crazy, right? So they have the highest insurance rates. As a result, they get, and the funny thing is that you still get people in forums and groups on Facebook that say, "Oh, I've never used winter tires in my whole life. I get away with these cheap tires, and they've been fine for years." Great, good for you. You must have spidey senses. But why are your rates highest? Right? Why?
Again,
Tell me why.
accidents. It's not about you causing the accident. It could be someone else causing the accident, right?
Some other person will run into you or you run into them. The best thing you need to do is both of you don't run into each other. and have the right equipment so that you can't possibly make contact.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If I could stop 30% or 40% less close to you,
right.
There's no contact. There's no accident.
By having winter tires on, your braking is actually more responsive and shorter, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, you avoid crashes.
So it's very interesting. In BC, we have requirements for a certain time of year where certain roadways you must have M+S or Three-Peak Mountain Snowflake, basic minimum 3.5 mil, all the things that I said before to be on these roadways. In the BC Lower Mainland, a little bit more relaxed, but if you go to Whistler, you basically have to have those tires.
Yeah, because
right?
we were driving through the summer and we were coming back from the middle of BC somewhere and we were going around the top and then coming through Whistler, coming down.
Yeah.
They were the steep like hills.
Yeah,
and
that's why it's closed.
And it's when we're talking like highways, like 2-3 lanes, but they were like going all the way down like that. And if it was winter, snow and ice and that you could be in trouble. Really.
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story. It's not so funny now because it was terrifying. I could have died. But I was driving to Whistler one year, and I had all-wheel drive.
Okay.
And again, that's one of the things we need to cover.
In the summer or winter?
Winter.
Oh, okay.
Winter. So I was heading up for a snowboard day, and my vehicle had very good quality all-season tires, 3-season tires, as the performance would say. They were not they were M+S, right? But they worked beautifully the rest of the year. I figured, hey, you know what? There's enough tread on them. There's at least 3.5 mil.
Okay.
I was coming down a straightaway. Nothing could possibly happen.
It wasn't raining. It wasn't snowing.
No, it was like a bright sunny day out.
Right.
We were heading up to the hills.
Okay.
Gonna go do some snowboarding.
Right.
I hit an icy patch.
Oh, because you can't see it. We call it black ice.
Yeah, black ice, icy patch, slush, whatever it was. It unsettled the vehicle and it just kept going.
You hit the brakes, but
don't hit the brakes. No.
Okay.
There was no control. I was in a standard, so I kept, because I knew I knew to do this. There was just no control. If I had steered either way, the car would have unsettled. So I locked the steering wheel. I started shifting down, engine brake, trying to regain a little bit of traction and letting go if it would slide a little bit. And there was a bend coming up.
Oh,
And there a set of train tracks which get very slippery.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And there was a truck in front of me that was getting very close, very fast.
Oh,
I had no braking control at all, right?
Oh my God.
And the vehicle was unsettled probably because of the fact that I had no traction at all. These tires were basically, like I was mentioning, hockey pucks at the time. This is a Subaru, all-wheel drive, happy times. Yeah, when you get going, no problem. When you stop, problem. Right?
Yeah.
So
I think people think, oh yeah, well I've got all-wheel drive, should be no problem, and they have all winter tires, all-season tires, four-wheel drive. I'm fine. But in reality, though, it's not.
It's all about the 4 patches of engineered rubber on your tires for the right season at the right time. And when winter tires come out, they have a ton of engineering. So, for example, Nokian, they have crystals in their tires along with siping and everything that act like studs.
Yeah, okay.
So it's almost like sandpaper as you wear out the tire, and it grips to icy or slick surfaces. Right? That's their technology. Another company, I can't remember what their name is, but they use walnut shells.
What?
To create an abrasive inside. It's eco-friendly.
Eco-friendly, yeah, of course, yeah.
But this is what provides the traction. You only have these 4 patches that give you friction.
Yeah.
So if these 4 patches are hockey pucks, they will keep sliding, just like my tires did. And I had, I can't remember what they were, but I had these high-performance Dunlop SP 5000, 9000. They were very good tires.
Yeah,
I loved them the rest of the year, but in winter they were hard as a rock. All and right. I was young. I didn't know better.
Okay,
I didn't know better. Okay, right. And that's part of the awareness is that now in Canada, 70% of Canadians know better, but in the U.S. that's another point. But it's mainly the awareness of the fact that these things actually do work.
Yeah, I think in BC, Canada, and stuff like that, they are aware of winter tires, and having winter tires overall in winter is better, right?
Yeah.
It plays in US, for example, where they have different winters. milder winters, for example. I don't know. I know that you don't get any snow in California, for example,
Nevada.
right?
So that's a moot point, right?
Right.
But in places where it does snow, even just a little bit, where the temperature reaches 7 degrees Celsius or below, or the Fahrenheit equivalent, we have to be thinking about it in terms of temperature, not in terms of road surface needs, right?
I need to explain also, occasionally in the UK, we have a massive motorway, what we call motorway pileups.
Yes.
Right? And that happens when usually we have maybe a day or two of snow. And suddenly on the news, on the latest big highway, and we call them M1, M4, different highways, is have massive motorway pileups and people just crashing into each other because they can't brake in time and they can't see, like, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Just one vehicle becomes unsettled and no one else behind them can stop.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
But I believe if you have winter tires that can brake in time, plus it will avoid these massive motorway pileups, because in the UK we don't have winter tires. We do, but we don't put them on as regularly as you guys.
Yeah.
So
it's not as front of mind because we don't, as humans, if we can't see it, it doesn't exist, right? It's like ghosts. Do they exist? I don't know. But if we could see a ghost, I'm going to call the Ghostbusters now, right? So, I understand. From a psychological perspective, if it never happens to me, it can't happen to me. If it never happens to me, it can't happen to me, right?
Yeah.
That's how we're wired, right? But I have a better alternative for people who think that, not wearing winter tires are a good idea. They're called all-weather tires. Okay.
All weather.
This is a new category of tire that supersedes all-season tires, three-season tires.
So they are a level up.
In terms of winter performance, they are a level up. So if you live anywhere that has a colder than normal temperature, or various types of weather like we do in the lower mainland, but you don't want that additional tire change every year, you want to wear one pair of tires year-round, you're looking for an all-weather tire.
All-weather tire.
Coincidentally was invented by Nokian.
Okay.
Right? Because they're in the Nordic part of the world where you need real winter tires for that part of the winter. But they also have such cold temperatures that vary throughout the entire country that you kind of need something that has a little bit of everything, right? So the all-weather tire has the Three-Peak Mountain Snowflake on it. And according to the ASTM, a Three-Peak Mountain Snowflake tire is supposed to be at least 10% better than an all-season tire. That's their number, but it can vary depending on brands because some brands are better than others. So the all-weather tire is engineered specifically to be good, not the best, good in spring, summer, fall, and winter.
Okay.
They also have compound that will not change in the lower temperature. So they're engineered to do that.
Right.
Which is a good thing. Okay. So it'll offer better performance than any all-season tire, three-season tire, but not as good as a winter tire.
Right.
In my opinion, probably the perfect tire for most people who are in the lower mainland.
So if you're driving into the city where you're not going to go out into the mountains or in outdoors, then that'd be fine, right?
It's good insurance because if you get even just a little bit more grip, and you're not going to get the 30 to 40% stopping distance advantages. I mean, those are for the best winter tires out there, right? You're going to at least get something.
Yeah, because you drive a lot. You drive like, I think from Coquitlam to Langley and back.
I sometimes go up to 200 kilometers in a single day.
and through varied different terrains. So Coquitlam is city areas. You go past into the countryside, into Langley. So there's different types of
it can be covered in snow. It could be covered in snow on the highway with no plows anywhere. And slushy shoulders and everything like that. That can happen in a heartbeat. And then everyone else is off the road. What are you supposed to do? You need to drive around them. Right? Slowly, right? So I think that's a good option. There are other brands beside Nokian. They're creating these tires. Michelin also has them. Every brand has actually picked up on this category as a better alternative to all-season tires when you're in an area where there's
so
fair
this
conditions.
new category was only recent, or was it just?
It was invented in the last few years.
Oh, for a few years. Okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
it's a very important category.
Are they pricier?
No, actually, they compare very favorably against a good quality all-season, ultra-high performance all-season tire because they are engineered more to have this range of conditions. Now, don't get me wrong, I like them as a category, but if you want performance in the winter and you want performance in the summer, they're good, but they're not the best on either side. If you still want the best possible performance and you drive a lot and there's more exposure to you being in an accident based on the fact that you drive so many kilometers, you are still better off getting either or, or both.
Another question also, new tires. How often do you need to change?
It depends on driving. And this is one of the EV
you drive
things.
A lot. You drive
I drive a lot.
So how would you change once a year? Twice a year. I mean,
every tire has a kilometer rating.
Okay.
Kilometer warranty. Do you get there ever? Maybe not. Depends on how you drive. If you drive very slowly, speed limit, accelerate gradually, and whatnot.
Safe driver.
Safe driver. Then you might meet or exceed the rated kilometers.
Okay. How long does that usually last? Kind of.
A good tire would probably have like a 60 to 80,000 kilometer warranty. A higher mileage tire might have 100 plus.
Okay. How often have you changed?
I haven't changed my tires yet.
Okay.
So I have two pairs of tires.
Right. So they do last. It's not like, you get a certain type of.
Yeah.
I know, for example, racing tires, they don't last.
Like 2 races?
Yeah, my brother's like, I'll get these racing tires, and they stick to the road. They drive nice, whatever, and they grip you. But I think he's changed them like within less than 2 years.
Yeah,
less than a year, I think.
Yeah. So because we're kind of working towards having some more information about EVs, I'm gonna put this one forward a little bit. This piece of information is that EVs do tend to weigh a little bit more than their standard counterparts. If gas vehicle EV, they're probably anywhere between 300 to 400 pounds on average heavier.
Right.
So as a result, you do eat tires, and also the torque and everything. You do tend to eat tires a little bit more as you learn how to drive the vehicle. Now, if you learn how to drive the vehicle and are able to adjust your go pedal modulation, and you don't peel off the line every single time, they will probably last a lot longer. For me, the ultra high performance tires that I have on my vehicle for the 3 seasons, except for winter, they went all the way to about 43,000 kilometers. I will get one more season out of them, and then they're done. Okay.
Yeah.
My winter tires are going on my 3rd season. I can get another season or 2 out of them.
Okay. So it's like almost like an investment, really, because you buy those tires, and it's not like a one time only. I mean, you could have it last like 2, 3, 4 years.
Yeah. Like, look, I think of it like a life jacket. If you are a boater, there's no way you're getting on the water without a life jacket, even if you never use it, even if you're the best swimmer possible, even if you're freaking Aquaman.
I mean, I mean, people when we're doing wakeboarding, for example, the beginners, they always wear the life vest. I see professionals, they don't wear them, but I'm wearing them because when you fall in the water, it's like hard.
I am not Aquaman, okay? I will wear one, and just like I am not Spider-Man, I have no spidey sense to be able to figure out if that car is going to pull out in front of me all of a sudden, and I only have less than a car length to stop in time, right? Distractions happen, accidents happen. That's why they're called accidents, right?
Right.
And that's why in some cases you really it's very puzzling to think that some people don't realize that they are responsible not only for themselves, but also for people around them when they do get into an accident.
Because it's human nature.
It's human nature. If it doesn't happen to
they always
me,
blame other people, right? So without looking at themselves. But
if it doesn't happen to you, it's never going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
So again, just to kind of recap here for the all-weather tires, I think it's a good option for you and your wife for your EV.
She drives a city area. That's like 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, she rarely goes to Whistler or any out to the next province or anything like that. It's just kids go back to school, 4th and stuff like that.
And you can make the choice to not drive on those days. That's one thing that we can do in the lower mainland of BC.
Yeah.
But in some parts of the province, we cannot. In some parts of the Canada, like Quebec, where it's like covered in snow, you can't make that decision because otherwise, what are you going to do? You can't go to work. So in places like that, you absolutely have to have winter tires. But in this case, in BC, we have a few options here. We can either go full winter and full all season or 3 season, or we can get all weather tires when we make that next change to have those during the winter months, or when the final change comes where we are sick of the tires that are on our vehicle. Okay, so we have some choices here, of course the pricing and everything. The more you spend at a certain point, the more performance you get. I do want to put a footnote down for those people that want to run their winter tires all year round.
Yeah, so for example,
think that's probably a question that you have.
Yeah, that's one of those questions. So I put on winter tires now. I haven't had time, or I haven't thought about changing them back. How will it affect me driving in the summer?
Okay, let me start with a story.
Okay.
Steven's story from his young days where he wasn't as knowledgeable and patient.
Tell me.
One year, in my Subaru, the same Subaru that I almost took off the road in Whistler, but I saved it at the very last second.
Okay.
With 3-season tires.
Okay.
I learned from that experience and I got winter tires.
Winter tires. Okay.
Unfortunately, one year where I was being very lazy, I forgot to take them off.
Okay.
They were still on my vehicle.
Right.
Okay. So what happens when that happens? Okay. Well, number one, my gas prices were through the roof. I was filling up so much more often because they are less efficient in the summer and warmer weather.
Less efficient.
Okay. They stick.
Okay.
They stick, right? They're softer material. They also started to wear out.
They wear out quicker.
Yeah, because I noticed that they were starting to feather.
Oh.
So that's not, so they were like fluffy.
Yeah.
Should have taken them off sooner. And they ended their life on my car because I ran into the back of another car on the other side of an intersection. I braked. Green light. I braked on the other side of the intersection. I slid across the entire intersection into the back of a car that was changing lanes from the back of a bus on the solid.
What?
Didn't even see it happening. So here's the thing. I know that winter tires have gotten a lot better over the last, this has happened 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I know that winter tires have gotten a lot better, but I don't think they've gotten so much better that they would have prevented me from running into that vehicle. And here's why. When winter tires get to a warmer temperatures, their ability to stop in warmer temperatures is compromised.
Oh, it doesn't stop as well when you brake.
It doesn't stop as well. In fact, Michelin allowed tire tests. They're a UK publication. They allowed them to test all their tires in winter and in warmer climates.
Right.
All their tires, from summer to all weather to Nordic winter.
Oh, okay.
What they found out was that their top-end Nordic winter tire, which was the Michelin X Ice Snow, that winter tire compared to their best all-season tire, the difference in stopping distance was almost 30 feet.
Wow.
In the summer.
In the summer.
In the winter, it's different. But in the summer, holy moly.
So, guys, don't forget to switch up your winter tires for all season or summer tires.
That's over 2 car lengths.
Yeah.
That's over 2 car lengths. That's
Don't forget to change it.
So I rode off my Subaru.
Okay.
But I don't think that a better winter tire, today's winter tire technology, could have prevented the impact that was, because there was nowhere for me to go. I either run into the bus with the people getting off the bus, or I run into this guy who decided to go in front of me, right? But I was on the other side of the intersection. I should have been able to stop on regular non-winter tires. And I couldn't stop. I wasn't even going fast. It was like maximum 60.
Oh, wow.
But it slid. It sounded like nothing. It was so scary. Okay. But
so
again, this is just me sharing a this is not a data point because it's just one anecdote. Just like a lot of people say that they never get into accidents. I've gotten into an accident. This is one anecdote. But there is testing to validate my position because on test tracks, on other testing medium, on other testing media, on closed tracks where they can test all the tires and their performance, this information exists. You can either choose to ignore it or you can choose to take it and actually use it to protect yourself.
Yeah, make sure you switch over your winter tires during the summer.
Now, speaking of accidents, right? One of the things that everyone needs is a silent witness. And I know that you installed one in your vehicle recently,
Yeah,
right?
dash cam. Yeah. So we put in the dash cam in. It's the rear and the front. I had to do all the wiring myself because I didn't want to pay like $200. So I did that. And it came with a default SD card.
Probably 16 or 32 gigabytes?
Yeah, I think it was 32. Yeah. And Steven says, oh, you can't use that. I said, why is not? It's included. It says, no, they're good. They're no good. They could like work for like, I don't know.
They're not no good. I was more worried that you were going to buy one of those cheap eBay cards. They were like 256 gigabytes that have no write rating or no total.
Right. Those cheap ones.
Yeah, the cheap ones, right? Because read and write cycles are very important on these cameras, right? So I gave you the Ultra Endurance Kingston card.
Yes, high endurance.
Yeah, high endurance card. Yeah, now, that's a 256 gigabyte card.
It is.
And you have a 1080p front and rear.
1080, no, actually 2K in front.
2K front.
And then 1080 at the back.
So that's good for a few days of footage, right?
So
that's a good thing because you want the silent witness on your side when ICBC says, hey, who hit who? Because then it becomes he said, she said.
Yeah.
But your silent witness, you don't have to say a single thing. Just here's the footage.
Yeah. SD card.
Done. And it can save you a lot of time.
Yeah.
In fact, in EVs, like Rivians, in Teslas, there's a space for a USB drive. But in this case, because it's so important, you don't want to just use any USB drive. Because USB drives, if you look at the specs, they have a finite number of read and write cycles, right? And they're usually very low. So my recommendation, and we've shown off these drives before, is the XS1000 is a great drive to have in your vehicle.
Good size.
It's good size. It's 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte.
Options.
And if you are someone that is butterfingers, you might want the dust proof and water resistance of the XS2000.
That's a bigger one, yeah.
That's a bigger one. Now, you might not use the speed because it's USB 3.2 Gen 2 by 2. Yeah. Which is 2,000 megabytes per second. But
that's right.
Having that along with good tires and everything like that is good insurance.
It is, yeah. I mean, you're basically making yourself kind of backed up. You're backed up, right? Yeah. You're backed up in terms of like recording, like silent witness.
Witness.
Yeah, and then you're safe with the winter tires for the winter. So if anything happens, you're covered.
Yeah. And that's the most important part. Now, we wanted to get to some of the EV specific things because I know that a lot of people are starting to watch your channel for EV related content. Thank you very much, by the way. So what it comes down to is winter tires are very important for every vehicle, including EVs. But EVs have one thing, two negatives actually. Number one, range goes down in the winter because of the cold. And that's not to say that in internal combustion engine vehicles, it doesn't go down as well too. It's actually affected. It's just that you can't tell.
Yeah,
because of the inefficiencies, right? In the EV, it's very efficient, but it also can magnify those.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same when everything just slows down in winter because it's just colder. Right?
Yeah. So for me, we know that also range is impacted by the type of tires that you have.
Yeah.
I myself, when even changing tires from the stock factory tires to something that's ultra high performance, you do lose a little bit of range. Now, the tires that I've selected, which are actually made by Nokian, actually are low rolling resistance.
What does that mean?
That means that the tire rolls easier over the terrain with less gas, less electricity, right? Because they're meant to roll. And they also stop, which is crazy in my mind because you think that rolling and friction are two separate things, but hey, these tire guys, they know what they're doing because these things are monsters in the snow. Right. So I want to give some tips and tricks to people in a general kind of sense to how to pick EV tires. For starters, some people want to go as big as possible for their wheels and as fat as possible.
I've noticed that most EVs have huge wheels. They don't even start at 17. They start at like 18, 19. 20-inch wheels.
Here's the pro tip. If you want to restore the range in the winter, which you're going to lose a little bit anyway, go down a size.
Okay.
Go down a size. Okay. Now, this is assuming that it's possible.
On yours?
So my tires, my stock wheels are 17-inch.
17-inch.
My winter wheels are 16.
Oh, so you dreamed to 16.
So it's called minus sizing.
Okay.
But it may not work for every vehicle.
Right.
So do check in with your Kal Tire garage to see if this is actually a possibility because the issues are rubbing with the rotor or with the caliper.
Right.
Okay. If those things are not an issue, then you can go down a size because number one, the wheel is now lighter.
Lighter inside. Yep, because it's smaller.
And there's more. And number two, you can pick a higher sidewall that shields against the potholes and the really bad ruts in the winter.
Right. So the thickness of the tire.
That's right.
Okay.
And that makes your vehicle actually more efficient because you have more sidewall versus wheel. So lighter, more aerodynamic as well too. Range is affected less because it's more efficient.
More efficient.
Right? It's more efficient, right? And you also get a better ride quality during the winter because it's so rough, right? Now, also, money. Everyone cares about money.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Cheaper
tires are available to you because in smaller sizes, they are cheaper.
Yeah. Okay.
So go for the lowest spec available tire for your vehicle. But if you can go one size smaller even with a good tire shop like Kal Tire who will actually test fit to make sure that they work.
Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah, I think wheel size, a lot of people don't realize they go for the biggest because it looks great. It looks cool, right?
It looks cool, right?
But in terms of efficiency, and of course tires, range, comfort.
Yeah.
Like you said, the lower size. What you call it? Downsize.
I call it minus sizing. That's the term. Okay. So you get that. You also, but of course, because EVs do weigh a little bit more, make sure that you get the proper weight rating for your vehicle, and the good tire shop will be able to give you that. Usually, if you find a tire with the XL weight rating, that means that it's more than adequate for any EV out there. The other thing that you want to do is you want to consider how much snow that you get in your area. So in BC, we get more bare pavement than we get deep snow. So my stock width of my tire is 215. That's fine.
Okay.
If I was somewhere where I would get deeper snow, I would probably go for a 205 and even taller sidewall.
So narrower wheels?
Dig into the snow.
All right. So narrower wheels, dig into the snow. Okay.
Right. So if you've ever seen a rally racing vehicle, the winter wheels on those vehicles are narrow.
I didn't know that.
If you look at any photo, I'm not kidding you. In a rally racing vehicle, the gravel wheels and the winter wheels are super narrow. They look like wagon wheels compared to the vehicle, right?
And why is that?
And the wheels themselves are super small. They're like 15-inch on a rally car with like high performance brakes. So these things alone can tell you that, hey, if you want the best possible performance, look to what the racers are actually doing out there a little bit and pick the right tire for your conditions. Because again, if you're in a place with a lot of bare pavement, cold, dry pavement, you want more tire width to stop faster. If you're in a place where there's a lot of steep snow and you need to get to that road surface, buy a skinnier tire for better performance.
Okay.
All right. And also pick a tire. Again, there's a lot of different tires out there, but Nokian is known for all low rolling resistance tires. Same with Michelin and some other brands that Kal Tire carries.
Okay.
That will help you maintain your range, as well as a smaller tire as well too.
All right.
So that's good. And we've ended up covering this entire section in our rundown here, which is great. So we don't have to talk about that. The other thing too, we want to make sure that we talk about is, like I was mentioning, buy a tire that has the features that are important to you.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's no point getting like all the features, super premium, all winter, this, that, when you're actually just driving in the city.
Oh, I don't mean that specifically. I mean that if the best tire was the best tire, why don't you and me have the same tire?
Different cars, right? Different.
Not just that.
Usage.
Different places in Canada have different road surfaces most of the time.
Yeah.
So in BC, we have a lot of wet weather.
Mostly wet.
And if snow hits, it turns to slush. So
pretty quick,
So we need a tire that evacuates water even in the winter. So when you pick a tire, look at the reviews out there and pick a tire that has the best possible wet weather performance over deep snow performance, right? In Quebec, where it's mostly winter most of the time
Mostly snow, don't get much,
Get something that's appropriate for that. There's different tires for everyone for a certain reason.
Right.
Okay? And talk to Kal Tire. Kal Tire they have stores across Canada. They will have different recommendations based on the area.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, storage. You know what? Like I said, like we were talking about there.
You like I said, you kind of mini sizing, right? So you have 16-inch wheels with the tires.
Yep.
And that's what you have on right now.
That's what I have on right now.
Okay, so what happened to your 17-inch with the wheels, with the other tires?
They're in storage.
So you store the whole wheel and the tire together.
Oh yeah, we should probably cover that. Okay. So the easiest way for the swap, the cheapest way for the swap to happen is to buy a cheap set of winter wheels, usually steel, ugly,
Ugly.
right? And mount your winter tires to those. And when you switch wheels, they're already mounted.
Exactly.
Now, swaps are cheap. They're usually between, depending on the shop, $60, $70 per year. But if you were to remount your tires, it's like a per corner charge of at least $40.
Yeah, so it's no point changing the tires. You change the wheel.
Yeah.
With
You
those tires
also
already on them.
put a lot of stress on the bead and you stretch out your tires. Try not to do that.
Right.
Okay. So that's kind of a pro tip things, all right? In general, though, I think that we've basically covered most of the things that are important to everyone, basically, because everyone wants a wheel that rolls better, saves them gas in the winter, whether you're an EV or an internal combustion engine vehicle, and the comfort of monetising if you can do it. Because a lot of Teslas have 21-inch wheels, but they actually start at 18, 19, 21, right? Go for the 18s for your winters. You'll be very, very happy. Now, EV specific and also other cars, tire pressure is actually one of the things that's very important. I want to make sure that everyone knows that in the winter, when the temperature drops, each 10 degrees drop in temperature, you lose 2 psi in your tires.
So you're actually losing pressure.
You're losing pressure, and you're also increasing the rolling resistance.
Okay. So do we need to pump that back up?
You absolutely do.
Okay.
In the winter, what I do is at the beginning of the winter, I actually add 4 psi into my tires. Not a lot. And that gets me 20 degrees of range. Right?
Okay.
So I actually put my door card. If you're wondering where to find the pressure in your tires, open the door on the driver's side. There should be a card in there that gives you all your pressures.
Yeah, it tells you a little on the side. Yeah.
36 psi is what my vehicle is rated for. I pump them to 40 at the beginning of winter. Then the next week when it gets 10 degrees less, then 10 degrees less, I'm still good to go.
Right.
I still have range.
And throughout the winter, do you need to pump it back up again? Like regularly?
Check every month.
Okay.
Once a month. Check every month. If you have a lot of people in your vehicle because you're going skiing a lot, pump them up just a little bit more because
passengers, your luggage, stuff like that.
Right?
Okay.
Going to the airport for that trip to Cancun, add a little bit of pressure. It's okay because you're actually the vehicle itself. The PSI is rated for the vehicle empty with a driver.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
If you put stuff inside, add a little bit more pressure and claim back that range. ICE vehicle or EV. The other thing too is that because an EV can chew through tires,
it does.
They can chew through tires. Yeah. Just be a little bit more careful because when it's
because it's heavier, right?
It's heavier, but also winter tires don't have the amount of grip that you do when it's warm with a sticky rubber.
Right.
So try to kind of keep your throttle response a little bit more smooth because you'll notice that even if you can train yourself to do that before it snows and gets icy, you'll be in a very good position.
Yeah. Don't drive like a madman.
Don't drive too much like a madman if you want to stay safe. And like we were mentioning, don't be tempted to run winter tires all year round.
Yeah.
Okay. I've learned myself that that's a bad idea, but there's still some people out on the internet because they've never had that same experience. Even though there's information and testing in front of them that they can look at, they still insist on driving winter tires. And one thing that I want to cover off, because I asked this question, not everyone can afford the best possible winter tires out there. Right. There are still budget options out there. Even like you've seen on Facebook Marketplace, all these made in China kind of tires that have come into the market.
I was wondering that. I've seen people buying secondhand tires. Is that a no?
Hey, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
It's actually not a no. It's actually not a no.
It's okay.
It's okay, but you have to keep in mind a couple things.
Okay.
Number one, make sure that the tire's never been patched before. So look on the inside.
Patched. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's it's not punctured and then patched. Okay.
Because patches, even though it's good quality, some places do good quality work, like Kal Tire. They can come undone. Okay. Number two, make sure that there's enough tread.
So tread. How do you actually measure the tread? Is tell me.
Okay.
It's like a technique you need to measure.
There's a Canadian method.
Yeah. Here you go. Tell me.
Okay. On the quarter.
Use a quarter. Okay.
There's a caribou on it.
Caribou.
Okay.
All right.
The caribou's nose.
Yeah.
If you put it in the tread.
In the tread.
And the nose is below the tread.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
Okay.
All right, you're good to go. Buy them.
But if you can see the nose,
If the tread is below the nose, it will be time to replace them.
replace. Oh,
Okay. So that's how you know, and that's how you can make an offer for the tires. There, it's not a bad way to be a little bit more eco-conscious by buying secondhand tires. You might get 2 or 3 more seasons out of it and save yourself a ton of money.
Right. Especially if you don't drive a lot, then
bingo.
Yeah.
And then that way you get the best of both worlds. You change over when the winter comes, you change back when the summer comes for all your road trips and everything, you're good to go. Most of us aren't taking huge road trips in the winter anyway. It's mainly a commuting thing.
Yeah.
I know few people that do that unless they're going up to a ski hill. And even ski hills, though, they're well plowed, but still you should have winter tires for those purposes. Okay?
Okay.
And then finally, for EVs specifically, I know that some people, they don't think about this, right? It's not something that you would do in the summer, but there's something called preconditioning.
As in the precondition the battery you're talking about?
Partially.
Okay.
But it's more for the human aspect. So when you precondition, when you turn on your vehicle, remote start it, in an EV, it's a completely different game.
Yeah.
Usually most people will have it plugged into their house. If they don't, that's fine.
That's okay, yeah.
But it'll actually start to warm up the battery. It'll also warm up your cabin too.
Okay.
Now, because EVs are so efficient, all of that ice, all of that stuff comes off very quickly. Your cabin gets warm very quickly.
Right.
Versus an internal combustion engine vehicle where you can't just turn it on in the parkade. That's actually prohibited.
Oh, is it?
If you just turn on and just idle your vehicle in some parkades, you can't do that.
We're in open back in the UK,
Yeah.
so you got the garage and then you have the parking space for your car.
In a parkade with everyone breathing in those fumes
And
in a shopping center,
internal,
or in a condominium or in an apartment,
Yeah.
you can't do that.
Can't do that,
There's actually bylaws and whatnot that prevent that because you're going to poison everyone.
Yeah, it's carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Yeah, that's bad.
So that's one thing that you could do. That's kind of one thing that you can do to extend your range.
So you had experience when you went away in the winter.
Yep.
You parked your car in the airport parking, and you were away for a week or something, right?
Yeah, we went to Italy for 10 days.
And then you came back.
I couldn't find my car, but I found it because I beeped it and I knew it was covered.
It's covered in snow.
Yep. So I did auto start. It melted everything as much as I could. I could push the snow off.
Yeah.
Because the icy layer was actually removed. So that's one of the things too, is that don't use your wipers until you absolutely get all the snow off. You're going to wreck the motor. On your windshield wiper. I know a lot of people want to just push the snow off. Don't do that. Okay. The other thing is too, one thing that you absolutely need to do in Canada is just use winter washer fluid. I know that the pink stuff is summer. The green stuff is winter. So make that change. Just put some in to help get below that. And then, of course, one thing that a lot of people don't realize is that slushy snow in BC is different than some of the other snow in the rest of the country because it sticks and then it freezes to your vehicle.
It becomes like an icicle, right?
It's an icicle, right? I discovered Teflon spray at some of these automotive places. Mm-hmm. You can spray that on your sensors, not on your tires.
Okay.
And it'll keep the sensors on your vehicle from clogging up, especially your smart cruise control sensors. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you use, obviously you shouldn't use it often, but if you do use it, those sensors won't clog up and you won't get the error message on your dashboards. Right. So, those are the kind of the things that I wanted to pass on. And also for EV drivers as well, too. There is a lot of stuff here that we cover that hopefully help both EV drivers, hybrid drivers, all sorts of drivers, save a little bit more money, stay safer. And I hope that we at least change some minds out there on winter tires because I don't want to see anyone hurt out there.
Oh, accidents.
And in Canada, like we have BC, which is somewhat regulated during October 1st and April 30th. We have no regulations in the wild west of Canada, which is Alberta. And then we have Quebec, which is completely legislated for 100%. And they're, by the numbers, they're saving some lives. Yeah. And they're preventing some accidents during the 30% period of the year where we get the most accidents.
Yeah.
Also, Alberta has the most, the highest insurance rates in all of the country.
Yeah.
Which might be for a reason.
Well, I'm glad I did this podcast because now you've answered some of the questions about winter tires, why is it important and the cost of having it done and things like that. Overall, it's in a place like BC, in Canada, where you have snow, it is in general, better to have that. And again, it's that same. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Yep.
And with all the information that I got, it's time for me to figure out whether I need winter tires.
It's time for you to consider it. And also, let's also put it front of mind is that they call it the plus 7C switch.
Okay.
It's because below plus 7C,
right.
We get hockey pucks on our vehicles. That's more important than anything else. That's why they stopped calling snow tires winter tires snow tires, because it's actually about the temperature.
Yeah.
It's actually about having the right compound on your vehicle at the right time of the year to get maximum braking performance and handling for your vehicle. And again, I spoke to Kal Tire. They said that most of the tires that they carry, even the budget ones, will give you really reasonable performance over an all-season tire. But if you can spend a little bit more money for them, for the handling, the comfort, and also that braking performance, and they do independent testing in-house, so they know which tires score the best, it's a good idea to talk to someone there to kind of get the best one. And I discovered something very interesting the first time, and this is way before we started working with them, is that if you buy tires from them,
right,
they'll rotate them for you for free.
Okay.
They will balance them for you for free for life as you own them, and they'll also do free flat repairs.
Oh, so you get like a after service as well? We get them?
It's fantastic. It's actually how I discovered that they were so good. And this is just me coming in off the street, never working with these guys. And that's kind of how that relationship started. And they've just evolved from there.
They're 100% Canadian, local.
100% Canadian, local.
Yeah.
Started in mining. They, so they know big trucks. They know big tires, of course, right? And with that talk, and I hope I don't sound like a preachy dad, I just want you guys to be safe out there. Uncle Winston wants you to be safe out there as well too. And I want Uncle Winston to be safe as well too. And Auntie Michelle as well too. So please consider your conditions. Please consider your driving and consider the right tires for the right time for your vehicle this year. And on that note, we also want to thank Kal Tire for helping us create this podcast, because I asked so many questions.
I asked so many questions.
And he asked so many questions. And I had to get the answers for those questions. And I hope I answered your questions well. But if there's more questions below in the comments, please make sure that you utilize that resource, because we've got Kal Tire looking over our shoulder to see if there's any more information that you folks need out there. So please ask away. And to get on that topic, I think it's time to end. So what do people need to do to find out more about our show?
So make sure you click on that notification and subscribe to us, because we have new shows each and every week on a Wednesday at noon.
On YouTube exclusively. Thank you so much to everyone. And please stay safe out there. Drive safely. And we'll see you again in our next podcast. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.